Hey y'all, it is December the 1st, 2017. I'm live here upon the internet. Let's see if anybody stumbles into the chat room. Alright, if they do, we'll sort them out real quick. But if they don't, y'all, there's a video that I've been needing to make for a few days, man. A few days got away from me, and I apologize for that, but I'm back in. I feel somewhat obligated to address a certain issue that people are contending with here upon my channel, as far as all the dang conspiracy and all the dang controversy and everything like that goes. Alright, I'm going to click some buttons, make sure that we're well upon our way. Alright, to talk about what it is that we came to talk about. And thing is, I am on a little bit of a race against time. My battery is on 26%, man. I gotta buy extra batteries because it's hard keeping up. All right, so 26% from now, we're gonna have to end this broadcast. All right, but there's a purpose behind it. We gotta talk about something real quick. And I gotta say, I made a video pertaining to this subject a few days ago, and then I just watched it today just to make sure everything was all right with the video, and it turns out that it didn't hardly make no kind of sense. I don't know what happened, but I wanted to delete it and stuff. And meanwhile, me personally, I've already kind of addressed this issue previously on this channel, but that was a while back. I'm sure somewhere in the abyss you might be able to find it in regards to bullying, and that's what we're talking about today, right now. That's what I wanted to do. Thing is, I think it's very appropriate to do it on live stream, all right? Because ultimately, although there might not be people that be stumbling in here and there, ultimately, I think it would be very appropriate to have a dialogue, all right, to sincerely talk about certain things and open up and share with each other and stuff. I could do a monologue about it, about bullying and what's really going on. I could do that, and I have done that. Right, and I could do that again, but I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I want to get some feedback. Is what I'm trying to say. Is I'm very open minded, but until then, I'm feeling the need to address this issue again, and I told this lady upon my comment feed that I would. All right. So just to dive into bullying, that's the topic today. Cyberbullying, more specifically. Before we dive into that, what I'm saying, just to let y'all know, I have trolls. I don't know if I should put that as a disclaimer upon my YouTube. It is the end of YouTube, by the way, but I do have trolls. And I've been had trolls. Right? And that's not even something really to brag about, because a lot of people have trolls. You don't even have to have many subscribers before you start to get trolls, sincerely. And that's what we're talking about today. So I got trolls. All right, and for y'all who ain't YouTube content creators out there, you might not have trolls. You might not have a troll problem, but you gotta understand about trolls is basically they're a certain type of animal, right? Who go upon the internet and they try to push people's buttons. They want to get your attention ultimately. They might not say it directly, but that's what they want. Trolls, and they're willing to say anything, dude. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Like, if you're on the internet and you're an internet personality, what you need to know is they're going to say anything to you. All right? And it's going to be absurd. It's going to teach you all sorts of stuff about human nature that you didn't even know. All right? The things that you might hear from trolls. All right? And I want to set this up why it is that we're about to talk about this. How I think it's very, very important, especially in regards to Caitlin Nicole Davis. I forgot to put that in the title. But it has a lot to do with that whole Caitlin Nicole Davis situation, and the effect that there was some cyberbullying going on, and everybody knows that, and nobody denies that. It really was going on, cyberbullying. Right? We can all agree upon that. right? But I want to talk about cyberbullying. Like I said, these trolls, they get on people's nerves. They say very vulgar things. They'll talk about anything, raping anything, right? Anything. They get downright low down on their belly, crawling around. They get real low down, right? But that's the thing, sometimes it catches people by surprise. Because YouTube is supposed to be like a thing where, anybody could do it. So a lot of people do it and they just want to see what's going to happen. And they're surprised to get this kind of behavior. Somebody who refuses to be respectful. Somebody who refuses to even leave the channel because you can leave. Nobody's making you stay. But that's what a troll does. That's their calling in life, right? And you can only imagine where that leads off to. I mean, think about it. I mean, really think about it. Persons dedicating themselves so much to not contributing to any sort of solutions or anything like that. Just saying the most hideous, disgusting things that you ever. Can you imagine what their life would be like? Do you think that they have a good job? Do you think that they're getting girlfriends and things? No, they're not. They're trolls. All right. So sorry for me to be angry at them, these trolls, and they're going to be out there. They've been out there. In fact, what I have to tell you right now might be startling, but what I got to tell you is there's at least a troll for every YouTube content creator out there. In fact, more than likely, it's probably like 2 or 3 or 4 different trolls for every single YouTube content creator there is out there, or internet content creator that there is out there. They got trolls, and you're gonna get them. If you want to go on the internet and you don't want to experience trolls, get off the internet, basically. And am I advocating for it? No, I'm not. And I think it's silly, but it does happen, right? So it created a whole kerfuffle up in my dang comment feed the other day, and a lot of people they're still over the computer shouting at each other things. I have a few people shouting at a troll. I got numbers of people shouting at different trolls on my channel, and really, honestly, I don't find it entertaining. If I'm being very honest, I don't find it very educational either. Right? But the thing is, what I gotta say is this: those things exist, and I'm sorry about that. But some people, they're not ready for that truth, right? And sooner they probably will be. I mean, we're in 2017, about to be on 2018. So some people ain't ready for that truth right now. That if you get on the internet, you're gonna experience some people saying the worst things that you ever heard, directed at you, and you're gonna ask yourself, why do I deserve this? Because you're on the internet. There's gonna be trolls, unfortunately. But the thing is, people they think to themselves, and this is very important to discuss before my battery runs out. They think to themselves, man, all these trolls on the dang internet. There's got to be something that can be done. There's got to be some sort of legislation. There's got to be some sort of software that we can put in and enact and get these trolls because they're crazy. They're threatening people's lives. They're doxing people. They're threatening their children's lives. They're threatening to rape their children. They're doing all sort of things, the worst sort of things on the internet, in the comment feeds and wherever else and stuff like that. These trolls. You might say, well, gosh, can't we do something? Can't we do something? Can we be anti-bullying and just create a program? Maybe you can. I don't know. I had to throw out there that I don't know if you can even create an anti-bullying program that will ever do anything, ever, right? Because what I want to explain is just real quick on the world. Us as individuals, we're very important. We're extremely important from what I can understand. But collectively, it's like, dude, we can't just. Um, Here, let me just try to reword it. Everybody gets bullied, right? Right. Imagine. I mean, that's the thing about it. It's kind of everywhere. So imagine if you were to alleviate bullying from a certain area. Well, I don't know if you'd pat yourself on the back, something like this, to make sure that there's absolutely no bullying in that area. But everywhere around your area where you have alleviated bullying, what will happen And what will be out of your control and my control and out of either of our opinions is bullying will take place all around the area that you created, the safe space that you created hypothetically. I mean, if what we're trying to do is anti-bullying, that's exactly what's going to happen. Actually, bullying has occurred and has been happening and occurring since before books were being written, a long, long time ago. Long, long time ago. Shout out to whoever just got into the little room there. Shout out to you. But here's the thing: we're talking about bullying. We're talking about a lot of stuff. Like number one, we were just talking about the fact is bullying has existed. And I don't know if you might want to maybe just, maybe you have an opinion as far as bullying, but as far as I can understand, bullying has existed since forever. It's never not existed, right? It's a thing that's always existed. And the thing is, you can get some pretty good evidence on that just by going on the internet. You can see it all over the place. All sort of bullyings, all sort of people beating on each other, all sort of parents beating on their children on the internet. You can see all sort of bullying. All right, there's bullying everywhere. So, I mean, that's the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of people feel very bullied, especially here on YouTube, and they're wondering, well, is there anything that we could do to combat bullying? Can we go into the schools and make school programs anti-bullying? Can we do that? Can we go on rallies and marches and walks? Can we do that and say we're anti-bullying? Yeah, you could do that. You can go on the internet and have petitions, do everything. You can create whole channels for anti-bullying. You can have all sort of celebrities talking about it. I don't like bullying. Bullying is still going to occur though. You understand? It don't stop, it can't stop, won't stop. The school programs definitely won't do it because bullying many times, I feel like a lot of people would agree with me, but bullying kind of begins at home, usually. The parents, I mean, if you ever watch like an episode of Family Matters, you understand that bullying, kids who bully other kids, well, they're probably getting bullied at home. It's a big, like, endless, vicious cycle of bullying. In fact, the bullying, you can kind of think of it as a disease. It's contagious, bullying. Someone beats on someone, and that other someone is going to go ahead and beat on somebody else. That's how it works. Nobody was treated with absolute respect their whole life, and then they just grow up into an adult beating on people. That does not happen. People beat on people because they got beaten up on. Right? It's a whole vicious cycle. That's the thing about it. I just want to call attention to that particular fact right there. That to be anti-bullying is to do something that I'm not aware of what the hell you're doing. What does it mean? What does anti-bullying mean? And before my phone runs out of battery, and it will very not very soon, but probably in 10-15 minutes, I do want to talk about myself. Because like I said, a lot of people they're wondering, can we do something against these people who are being trolls, who are doing the cyberbullying? Can we create some legislation? Can we talk to YouTube about it? Can we do something? Because the thing is, it just doesn't seem very safe, and it doesn't seem very necessary that these people would threaten to rape us and do all sort of demonic things to us. That's not even what we're on the internet for and stuff. And maybe we can figure out something to where these people can't do this no more. They can't stalk us on the internet. Maybe it's something that we could do about it. All right, here's what I gotta let y'all know. Live on YouTube. This is the end of YouTube. You could talk to YouTube about it. All right, might want to holler at Celeste Who knows and ask her just how much YouTube is really interested in hearing about. Oh yeah, someone keeps constantly stalking you on the internet. Someone found out your home address. Oh yeah, someone's threatening to rape you. Someone's threatening to rape your children. Oh yeah, so whatever. YouTube kind of and I'm not going to say it about everybody who works at YouTube. Obviously, some people are going to take that pretty serious, but in the whole general scheme of things, YouTube ain't really all that concerned. However, YouTube is 10 steps ahead of you in the cutting of their own throats. because they are sinking much worse than the Titanic at this point. But the thing is, they're 10 steps ahead of us when it comes to cyberbullying, which is a new thing. I mean, it's kind of new, even though bullying has always existed. Now it's just really prevalent on the internet. All right, YouTube's way ahead of y'all, right? Because they've been dealing with cyberbullying for a while. See, this is the rope a dope that I want to tell you about. A lot of y'all already know about it. It's basically, a lot of people feel very threatened from trolls and things like this, and I can understand why. And they tell YouTube about it, and YouTube's like, "Well, we'll do something about it. We're gonna do something about it." And so basically, YouTube, what they'll do is turn around, and they'll ban me, something like that, something stupid. They'll ban everybody who I like to watch on YouTube, right? I know multiple people, several people that I like to watch on YouTube who have been banned, or not banned, but put into YouTube jail. All right. And I definitely been put into YouTube jail. I'm not no sort of victim. I'm just telling you what happened. That's why I didn't do live streams for a long time. Wouldn't allow me to do it. All right, because I was in YouTube jail. The reason why is that? Because I'm a cyber bully. All right. And the thing is, you might come to find out that yeah, I am a cyber bully. Depending on your definition of what a cyber bully is. I guess you could consider me a cyber bully and stuff like this. Because a lot of people do. And I'm not gonna tell them that I'm not. And I'm not gonna apologize for what it is that I'm saying. I'm saying it on my own channel. And you gotta really look for my channel if you want to find it, right? So I would just say whatever it is I want, and people are gonna call me a cyberbully. And so if we're if we're talking about moral legislation, or if we're talking about further steps that YouTube can take to keep everybody feeling safe, guess what? They're gonna ban the shit out of me. I'll tell you that right now. All right. And a lot of people who maybe aren't like me, but maybe other people that you like to watch and stuff on YouTube, guess what? They're going to start to get banned if they say the wrong things. And trust me, I know a lot of people who say the wrong things, and they're of all different colors and creeds and backgrounds and all sort of stuff, and they say the wrong things upon YouTube. That'll get you banned. That'll get you put in YouTube jail. Why? Because you're a cyber bully. Meanwhile, holler at them about, oh man, this account keeps doxing me and talking about all sort of heinous murdering rape crimes, and they'll be like, oh, well, YouTube will be like, hey, we'll give us 1 second, we'll get right with you. All right. First, we gotta delete E.T. Williams. We gotta delete his channel. They call him a cyberbully. Think about it. Think about it like this. I mean, they call him a cyberbully. All he does is create videos. You do not have to go to his damn channel. Trolls go out of their way to literally do everything that what I just said and even worse upon YouTube. What I'm trying to let y'all know, let y'all in on a little bit of something is that YouTube does not give a damn. They don't give no shits. They don't give no fucks or whatever the fuck people give. They don't. And it's interesting. I keep bringing it up because it's becoming more and more and more relevant. Is that YouTube is killing itself, and it it's too. Man, I got a crooked ass tooth. Look at that. But YouTube is killing itself, is what it's doing, because it is going after cyberbullies, basically content creators that they don't like, and it is trying to turn itself into television. And there is other platforms that are going up, been going up, to replace YouTube. If ever YouTube decides that it wants to go the way of MySpace, well then it can do that, and then we're gonna have so many other platforms, which is what's taking place right now. YouTube, YouTube couldn't kill itself any faster, and that's what they're doing. Meanwhile, we're still left with the topic of bullying. Like I say, my ideal situation is not me myself personally having a monologue in front of a camera, as much as it would be talking to people and asking them, you know, just kind of curious as to what is the definition of bullying, because if we're gonna attack bullying, or if we're gonna squash it out or defeat it, we gotta know what it is, and most people don't. Most people don't know what it is. All right, And some people know it to different varying degrees. Some people know it way worse than other people. Some people know bullying so much that it is their life. That's all they know. All right, and it does start in homes tragically, and in all sort of atrocious ways and stuff like this. You can't go into the school programs teach nothing about this kind of stuff. All right, but people don't tend to think. I don't know. See, this is the impression that I get. Before we get out of here, real quick, the impression that I get of people is that they think that bullying and stuff like this happens spontaneously, like in a person. Like if it was an empty person vessel and you kicked it, or you didn't even kick it, you kind of nudged it gently, empty person vessel off into the world, that this person would somehow get the urge to bully people and somehow get the urge to, I guess, hate on people and hate speech all over people. That's probably not gonna. That's actually definitely not gonna. Isn't that? That's not how bullying works. Is what I'm trying to suggest. Is like bullying is kind of it's a fog. It takes over people. It's a deadly disease that'll take over your life and have you bullying your children and their children and their children and so on and so forth. And they'll take that whole bullying lifestyle and exhibit it to the whole rest of the world by way of spousal abuse and this and that, and just a lot of bullying and stuff like this. All right. Uh, but it's not much that you could do about it. It's not much that any of us could do about it, except, might I suggest, to separate ourselves from bullying. But the only real way, as I can imagine, to separate ourselves from the bullying is to define what bullying is. All right, because you can't separate yourself from something that you can't define. Don't make sense. All right, so uh, that would be my suggestion. But I want to go a little bit further before my battery runs out and we end this broadcast and stuff. I want to go a little bit further since we've addressed bullying, and the fact is, I really don't understand how to attack bullying. I don't, because it's everywhere. All right, not only that, people's definitions of bullying are vastly different. Vastly different. Like, I'm not going to go into detail, but I live a life, a certain kind of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm living that life, right? So, thing is, a lot of people would see my life and they think, oh man, that guy, he lives a certain way, and people act very rough with him, very rough and tumble with him, man, very rugged and stuff like this. In fact, it could be seen as like, I don't know, masculine or something like that. But the environments he puts himself in and stuff like this, they could see me and be like, "Hey, man, people talk to you a certain way, and they don't always say please, or they don't always say sir and stuff like that." They could look at that sort of a situation and say, "Well, man, dang, these people are bullies out here. They're not being very polite." Meanwhile, it's like, dude, I go to places willingly and talk to people where we're not exactly all the way polite. We're pretty polite, but we're actually more concerned with getting a job done. Like, some people have a very thin skin and they do certain things for a living, or they have a certain kind of a lifestyle. And some people have thicker skin where they do other things for a living and they talk to certain other people, certain other kind of ways. That might be considered bullying to somebody else, because it's always perspective. And we are all individuals out here, so chances are that we might have different perspectives on what it is that it is bullying. Right? But like I said, before the battery runs out and stuff, we can end this program. I wanted to dive further into the whole Caitlin Nicole Davis situation. Now, I personally articulated this before in past videos. However, I know that it can get lost in the abyss and stuff like this. And I wanted to throw it out there again. Not just to reiterate it, but just to kind of invite people to have a dialogue with me on the subject. Okay, for example, like I said, I am a bully. All right, I admit to that. I'm definitely a bully. I'm a cyber bully, and YouTube has put me in jail for that. All right, I was talking about stuff, about a culture, one that you don't talk about, if you know what I'm saying. And I was telling about that culture, and then I got put in YouTube jail, and it happens, right? So we're talking about Caitlin Nicole Davis and that whole situation. We're going to dive a little bit further in that and then end this broadcast. Caitlin Nicole Davis, a lot of people look at her situation and they see cyber bullies. Right? And certainly there were. I don't think anybody's denying that. Right? Because there seems to be a lot of evidence of cyber bullies. What I'm here to suggest and open up for debate, dialogue, whatever, is that the cyberbullying that Caitlin Nicole Davis incurred, it wasn't cool, and a lot of people would agree that it was unnecessary. However, I don't see any reason to believe that the cyberbullying had a very, very big impact on Caitlin Nicole Davis. And of course, I do understand that Caitlin was reaching out on the internet for attention, for somebody to, just comfort her and stuff like this. And I mean, who could blame her for doing something like that? All right. So, yes, she was reaching out to the internet for people, for somebody to lend a friendly word of counsel. She was doing that, and then cyber bullies did kind of mess with her a little bit. A lot of people look at that situation and they think to themselves, shoot, the cyberbullying, we can't have this no more because it contributed to this whole situation. It's terrible. Everybody agrees it's terrible, terrible situation. So we should do something about the cyberbullying. But what I have to just keep reiterating until somebody points me in a better direction is that the cyberbullying was not all that significant, and it did not contribute all that much to Caitlin Nicole saying, I understand she live streamed and everything. I mean, I do understand exactly what took place and that there was a lot of cyberbullying. It wasn't all that significant, and of course, it does damper people's day and stuff like that. So, I mean, it did have some significance. But meanwhile, here's what I gotta say. A lot of people upon the internet experience cyberbullying. In fact, way more than Caitlin ever did. A lot of people do, and they do not go to that kind of extent. Right? A lot of people experience that. In fact, a lot of people experience a lot worse. Because we got to remember that bullying actually does exist in many, many different forms, everywhere. Absolutely, and in fact, it really only depends on your perspective as to whether or not you're getting bullied. I mean, if you're getting bullied all day and you don't believe that you're getting bullied, then who cares? When you really think about it, I mean, if you're living a great life and stuff, then why would you trip over being bullied when you don't know you're being bullied? You understand that there's a perspective issue to it, and I gotta say that it's a little bit dangerous from my perspective, and in that, as far as things that contributed to Caitlin Nicole Davis's untimely leaving of us, in reference to that, I have to say it's like sexual deviation really does, and I want somebody to tell me how it doesn't. I want somebody to please tell me how sexual deviation in general, which to be, I guess, briefly defined would be sex for any reason at all without a baby in mind. All right. I mean, not pedophilia. I'm talking about making babies. All right, that would be the purpose. And a lot of people have a lot of different arguments and stuff, and they live their life different ways. I've certainly lived my life different ways at certain points in my life and stuff, but I kind of realize that is what sexual deviation is. It's basically doing anything else sexually that doesn't have nothing to do with making a baby, unfortunately. And the thing is, you can go even further, and I would go even further. You might say, well, you're an extremist. Maybe I am, but I'm on the YouTube, and I got my own channel, and it's my own channel. And the thing is, I'd have to say that actually sexual relations outside of marriage is sexual deviation. A lot of people would look at me and say, hey, you're judging me, you're judging my life because I've had premarital sex and stuff, and you've had premarital sex and stuff like this, and the answer is yes, I have had premarital sex, and I regret. And I made various videos about it. I regret all of it except for the one where I made a baby. All right, and that was a really good one. But the thing is, the whole point was making babies. All right, and you know what I'm saying. That could just be my opinion. But like I said, that's just my opinion, and it's based out of a book that y'all might have heard of, and many other things, just experiences in life. I'd come to figure out that in my from what I've seen, it's just not worth it. It is not worth it to even have sexual relations outside of marriage for not having a baby. Thing is, you might say, well, am I hating on homos? No, not really. Homos do whatever they want as far as I'm concerned, you know, as long as you keep children out of it, this whole pedophilia thing out of it, which is a serious concern. I mean, that should be a serious, that's a very big concern with Caitlin Nicole, isn't it? Because she wasn't barely going through puberty at this time when she was talking about these incidents, right? And that rubs a lot of people the wrong way when you talk about pedophilia, and it should, because it's of suicidal nature, right? But that's, of course, a whole nother video. We're talking about bullying. You gotta understand the way that it works on YouTube or these sort of platforms when you're talking about free speech and when you're talking about limiting it for people's safety and stuff like this is the first people that they turn around and look at would be a person like me. And the thing is, I'm not complaining or whining about it. I'm just saying, a person like me or you, for that matter, for simply having an opinion. My opinion is from what I've seen, anything besides for making a baby is sexual deviation, and that was rampant all around Caitlin Nicole's life. All sort of it. She was born out of it. You know, her father is. I mean, you already know how her father was taken from her life. Obviously, men in and out of the house. You remember all sort of sexual deviation. Go on and on, you go through the family tree and stuff, you're going to see some things. You're going to see a lot of things from my family tree as well. I'm not out here saying, like, you won't. All I'm saying is rampant with sexual deviation. All right, you see a girl literally going through puberty before girls her age do. You understand? Because her body was calling out, and her brain was calling out for what she thought would fulfill her, some sort of sexual relationship. Meanwhile, she's never been taught about the 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 sacredness of her own self. She's never been taught that to have sexual relations outside of marriage is basically to rape yourself. And a lot of people would take that as hyperbolic. You can do whatever you like, but I I find it personally. And the thing is, I've done it a lot. Yes, I know, and a lot of people do it a lot. I find sex outside of marriage to be raping yourself. Basically, not to acknowledge the majestic, absolute sacredness of what it is that your body is capable of doing, which is creating other lives. Right? That is my opinion. I don't even go over to other people's channel and be like, "Oh, this is my opinion. I want you to hear it." No, it's on my own channel. But saying certain things like this can easily be called hate speech. Easily. I know a lot of people probably concerned about Caitlin Nicole's situation who are definitely more concerned with cyberbullying than with, sexual deviation. And God bless them. I guess we're going to agree to disagree. But I'm sorry. I don't see a way necessarily, unless it could be described to me, to alleviate bullying off the world, which has existed since before the world um, was writing books and stuff. Now, as far as sexual deviation, you know, it's one of those situations where that is a route that people can take to change the world. That's a route that I've taken as far as just staying away from relations. You call me a homo if you want, I guess. I don't know. I just haven't been doing it, and I haven't been wanting to. I haven't even been finding no, you know what I mean, like someone to be a mother and stuff like that. I don't know anybody like that. You know, a lot of people see my opinions as very hateful, very discriminatory. Meanwhile, I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want to do. And if you want to watch my channel at the same time, go for it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I'm not hunting down no homos. I don't want to hunt down the homos. I've been very friendly with a lot of homos and stuff like this, so long as they keep away from children. But that goes for straight people too. Why don't you stay away from children? All these people, all these homos and these transvestites, all up in the libraries, all up in the schools. If you don't know what I mean, go ahead and Google it and fucking give it. It's 2017. They got transvestites and stuff, and what do they call it? Cross dressers and stuff like this. Trannies. They're dancing like they're at the strip club in libraries, in public schools, in elementary schools, right now. Right. So I don't know if you're starting to grasp what I'm talking about when I talk about sexual deviation. Has got it to where it's definitely exploiting the children. In fact, it's putting them on front street, sometimes putting them on blast. Sometimes when they go through early puberty, such as Kayla Nicole Davis, you have creepy disgusting men like Anthony Lee Rogers. His dick don't work. His dick been not working. Why? Because he's a pedophile. All right, he can't get it up. He has to do drugs. That's why he met, you know what I'm saying? I mean, do I even have to start calling out names? This is why all this stuff happened exactly how it happened. All sort of sexual deviation. Wasn't a man up in that house. All right, wasn't a family there. There wasn't a foundation for Kayla Nicole. You're asking me. Sexual deviation was rampant. You might want to say, oh, people were bullying her. Yeah, they were. There's a lot of bullying going on, but it was going on inside the household. Unless you want the government to put boots down in every single household in America, then I don't know what it is to say because there's some of the families that are just chock full of the brim with bullying, right? And their children carry it out in the world. It's a sick, disgusting disease. Meanwhile, some people would say that if you told them to get a damn job and go and take a shower and go to work, they would consider that to be bullying. You see how bullying just doesn't go anywhere if I'm not mistaken. And someone might be able to point me in the right direction. But it seems to me, as far as results go, if we're wanting solutions, if we're wanting results, right, we're going to have to probably. That's what I'm thinking. Sexual deviation. It was rampant. She didn't know the purpose of her own body. Right? She's desperately seeking the attention, let's face it, of a father who wasn't there. Right? Obviously, this country is in an epidemic right now. If we're talking about solutions, if we're talking about real problems that we can grasp, the country's in an epidemic right now of fatherless homes. Right? Which is another thing. A lot of people don't commit suicide. A lot of people don't succumb to all this cyberbullying, and whether or not you want to acknowledge, there is usually a pattern of a lot of people who came up with daddies in their lives, in their household. Usually, especially if it's a man who is their father, you know what I'm saying, genuine article. Usually, these people, they don't really succumb to bullying. They don't think about it very much. I mean, that's one of the biggest props that I can even give to my father. Is like, dude, I don't even think about it. People, if people do try to bully me, I don't have time. I really don't. Some people just fold and they fall on the ground and start crying, right? And I can understand why, because bullying is not cool, right? However, and neither you and I are going to stop it at all. Right? In fact, problem isn't external. And we're going to wrap it up like this. The problem is not, hey, let's point our finger at this guy and that guy and this guy. I mean, technically, we do that a lot. And I do that, especially. I'll point at Anthony Lee Rogers and say, hey, your dick don't work. How about that, you son of a bitch? How about that? Your dick don't work. Everybody knows that. You want to take it outside? I can do that on the internet all day. All right? And that's mean spirited. All right? But the thing is, I'm a cyberbully in that sense, and it's just nothing that anybody could do about it. They could try to ban me, all right, but they can't ban everybody. We're all going to be cyberbullies at some certain point. Meanwhile, if we're trying to control people externally, if the biggest thing on our minds right now is I want to point at Tammy, I want to point at Anthony, I want to point at Luke, I want to point at this, that, and the third, and there were more participants. There definitely were. All right, then I think we're gonna miss the whole point. Now we can look inside of ourselves and say, hey, I don't like bullying, so I'm not gonna do it to anybody. And that to me is very good. That'll change the world definitely for very good because from what I've seen, if you look inside yourself, that's where you change. That's how you can change the world by changing yourself. Something Michael Jackson said. I don't know how y'all feel about Michael Jackson, but he said it. He said, "Look, you change the inside of yourself, you're gonna change the world. You look at everybody else, you point your finger, you ain't gonna change nothing because that's been the status quo. That's how it's always been. People pointing their fingers at somebody. They're gonna come up with solutions. Not really, but however, we can look at into our own eyes, into our own eyeballs in the mirror, and we can say to ourselves, "Man, am I a bully? Maybe I should stop bullying." Right? Do I am I a sexual deviant pervert? Because there's a lot of people out there. You might look at yourself objectively speaking, or I might look at myself and say, the top things I think about: am I a sexually deviant pervert? Does everything that is that all logical? Does that all make sense? Does that all line up? Because a lot of people out here are all sort of perverted, perverse, and they would disgust us with the things that they do. Of course, they keep it to themselves, and we thank them for that. However, we can't help but look at the things that they do and think to ourselves, ooh, why would they do that? Meanwhile, at the same time, if we're out there doing sexually deviant things, anybody could look at us and say, ooh, why he do that? All right, freak nasty and stuff like this. They can all judge because it would be deserving. The sex that we have is gross. All right, and the pornos and all that. And I know it's like everybody would call me a homo and stuff like that, but these pornos are gross, dude. I'm turning away from them. There's a lot of people on the internet turning away from these pornos and stuff like this. This sexual deviant nature and stuff. People are tired of it, man. I was raised in the damn 90s and stuff, and I'm just done with it, y'all, dude. I don't even want to see pornos no more. And like I said, a lot of people, dudes turn around and be like, "Oh, you homo? You don't want to see pornos?" No, I don't. It's disgusting. But anyways, y'all, we talked enough about this. My mouth's all getting dry, as you can see. I hope the next time we talk about this, we might be having live streams with people. We might be talking about people. There might be people in the comment feed. Oh shoot! Before we get out of here, I do have to acknowledge Deborah Johnson said I was badly bullied. It destroyed me in many ways. That's no good. That's no good, Deborah. And I don't know if you're still there. But maybe you'll check out the video later if you're not still there. Deborah, that's messed up. I've been bullied as well, but not in super harsh ways. I do have to admit, I've been bullied as well. I understand the thing is, a lot of people have been bullied. In fact, most people have been bullied, unfortunately. Before my battery runs out real quick, I just want to say most people have been bullied. And the thing is, it can destroy people. This is true. All right. Meanwhile, like I said, or like a lot of people have said, seems to be pretty. It seems to be pretty closely related to um, being bullied, as far as people's confidence. It's a perspective thing, you know. And thing is, of course, there's very extreme, harsh ways that people can be bullied. I understand that, and I don't like any of these things. I'm not a fan of them. However, they do happen to certain people and affects certain people differently. Some people are destroyed. Some people are just badly hurt for a while and it's temporary. All right. That's not to excuse what happened. It's just to say some people let it define them and some people don't. And if I had my way, everybody out there who's, a follower or a friend or whatever it is, What I would say is don't let it define you, but of course, that's not my decision to make necessarily. A lot of people have been bullied. Bullying happens. What I would love to hear is a way to actually decrease it statistically. I'm not seeing it. The thing is, my battery's running out. It's been long enough. I'll have to holler at y'all later. Deborah, thanks for showing up. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody else who showed up. Is going to watch this later. For whatever reason, 45 minutes long of me talking about stuff, about bullying and stuff, and how that's really not something that it's not tangible enough to do anything against, unfortunately. And I'm not a big fan. Anyways, we're balls deep up in the tribulation. Alright, and a lot of people consider me to be a cyber bully. And I do got trolls as well. It's December the 1st, y'all. 2017. We might even start talking about Christmas, y'all. I'm looking forward to it. I'll holler at y'all.